Tonight on Insight, we're looking at developments around security in the country, and in relation to that, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apietu, has assured the public of a thorough investigation to treat with all seriousness the matter involving some suspects arrested at a dock hall with grenades. Now, he's therefore calling for calm, as scores of investigators and specialists have been dispatched to various locations in the country to work in getting to the bottom of a matter to help maintain the country's peace and security. Now, the IGP disclosed this at a media briefing in Accra on Tuesday following the arrest of the suspects at the dock hall. Now, I have been joined in studio by Mr. Adib Saani, who will help us understand this particular development. Now, Mr. Adib, thank you for spending your evening with us.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you, but we have a brief on this. I want viewers to see the brief, and I will come back to the studio for the discussions.
To assure you and all Ghanaians, as well as the international community, to remain calm as we investigate this matter of police seizure. The seizure is a result of police intelligence-led operations, and we are working together with the relevant agencies to get to the bottom of this matter. Our investigation seeks to answer questions such as whether these persons are terrorists, whether they have linkage with any terrorist group, how they obtain the objects, their sources, the potential allies, and many more. Yes, it is for all of us to be sensitized in our communities so that if we see some of these things, unusual behaviors in our communities, we should tell the police. We have started a lot of pilots in the communities, and it's called Prevent. And the work of these officers, together with the community members, is to sensitize the communities against some of these things.
And so that was the Inspector General of Police and the person of Mr. David Asante Apietu, assuring the public of the commitment of his office to ensure that at least there's some bit of peace and security across the country. But, Sani, you heard him. We have seen, in times past, I think there's been quite a number of reports that have, even referred, not in the case of grenades, for example. We've seen unregistered rifles that have entered the country. We have seen some that have been confiscated. I mean, is there any connection between these developments, grenades we are seeing today, and, the returnees we have seen that have come into the country, given the turmoil you have seen in some of the countries above the Sahara? And more importantly, how do you marry that with the statements that have just been, made by the IGP?
Well, first of all, the IGP has been categorical about the general public giving information or intelligence to the security agencies. In as much as I find it very plausible, we should also give credence to harnessing the trust between the intelligence agencies or the security agencies and the people. What would make someone give information to the security agencies when there is that trust and confidence in the fact that when I give the information, my privacy would be protected, I would fall under the witness protection program that is currently in place, and I would trust that the information I produce or I give out to the security agencies is worked on, proper investigation is done, then prosecution done, then I would be confident in the security agencies to do their work. That would make me not relent in giving out the information.
Do you think that is happening? Do you think what you have just enumerated is happening? Because we all have to find a way of helping the Ghana Police Service.
Exactly.
Is that happening?
I have been very unequivocal about the fact that the security agencies alone cannot do the work.
Right.
We have a police population of about 32,000, making the police-civilian ratio 1 police officer to about 780 Ghanaians. That is woefully inadequate. And when you go by international best practices, there's supposed to be 1 police officer to 500 Ghanaians. What it means is they cannot be everywhere all the time, and they cannot do the job alone. That is why it's important, especially with the establishment of the National Security Ministry that is consistent with the 2006 Intelligence Security Agencies Act 526. We have a National Security Ministry that is supposed to, in a collaborative manner, get the various intelligence agencies to work in tandem, share information as a unit, partner with their international colleagues. They would have a holistic database to even deal with transnational crime.
Right.
But the problem is, many people don't have that confidence in the security setup.
Right.
And it is complicating the situation. And it is further complicated by the fact that, according to the UN, last year, 2017, there are about 25,000 foreigners fighting in Syria alone, coming from about 100 different countries.
Okay.
The same period, according to the African Union Commission for Peace and Security, they were categorical about the fact that we have about 6,000 Africans fighting in the Middle East,
right,
amongst about 30,000 foreigners who are fighting them. And there is the likelihood that these Africans are coming back to Africa largely because of the fact that we have ISIS losing grounds in Syria and in Iraq. And if you think we have dealt a big blow to ISIS because we've killed them all, you're wrong. Because we've only succeeded in dislodging them. And they would come back home.
Let's talk about Libya now. We have some Ghanaians who not too long ago had to be, returned back from Libya. Some were subjected to all kinds of maltreatments. I think the country went amok when, this particular development came up. Is there a possibility some of them may have been radicalized? And what is the implication for that? Given the developments we are beginning to see across the country regarding grenades. Now I know you are of the view that there's too much information regarding this particular grenade incident.
Exactly.
That should have been managed properly.
In dealing with security issues, information is very key. The type of information you churn out to the public is very important, because this has to do with the almighty terrorism scourge that we're dealing with, even as a sub-region. The fact that leaders of Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, Ansar Din, Ansar Sharia, like Bel Mukhtar, have called on their followers to stage attacks in sub-Saharan Africa. Indeed, it has happened in Mali, it has happened in Ivory Coast, it has happened in Burkina Faso. So this is only an indication of the fact that we are not immune from any terrorist activity. That is why we need to be very cautious. Some of these returnees we're having, do we screen them? Do we make them go some processes? So do we question them? We just ask them to go back to their communities.
The International Organization on Migration, I think during that returnee program, indicated that they were screening some of these individuals before bringing them into the country.
How deep do we screen them?
I would not be able to
because the terrorism scourge, not to cause fear and panic, but the terrorism scourge is very serious. It is no longer a Western issue. It has assumed international, transnational proportions, and we are not, as a country, immune from the scourge. That is why it's important that we invest resources in the training of more intelligence gatherers in the police, in the military. We should give them the equipment they need. We virtually have non-existent border crossings.
Are Ghanaians being alarmist about this particular grenade development?
Because of the kind of information that is coming out. You see, I personally called the police PRO today. I called him twice. He didn't answer. I sent him a message. He's not replied me yet. Just to, as it were, ascertain whether indeed the terrorism news we received yesterday came from the police outfit. Because if indeed it came from the police outfit, we have every reason to be worried. Because when issues of that nature happen, we need to be very careful. We need to manage the information so we don't cause fear and panic. Aside
so you think Ghanaians are being allowed?
Because no, it's not their fault. Okay, it's not their fault. Also, the kind of information that comes out can compromise the investigation, because terrorism, usually we don't have 1 or 2 or 3 persons engaged in terrorism. It's usually a cell or a sophisticated network.
Right.
So we would have to dig deeper. But by coming out with this information, we let them know the trajectory of investigation. We make them know that, okay, it is not a criminal investigation, but a terrorism investigation. And you might have them scramble, and it might even make the investigation much more complicated. But let me also add that the weapons they've seized, I mean, it could be a tip of the iceberg, as a matter of fact, because we have a highly sophisticated network of weapons traffickers all across the West African sub-region who get their supplies from North Africa and also other parts of the continent where there's been massive proliferation, like South Sudan. Apart from the fact that we're contending with a fledgling local gun manufacturing industry, with figures even putting at the number of illegal weapons in the system as much as 1.5 million. So we have every reason to be worried, and the information that comes out.
I'm running out of time. My final question, though. So you have talked about all these challenges that we have, inadequacy of capacity on the part of the police, etc. Are we prepared under that particular dispensation to deal with anything that will come up?
I doubt. I strongly doubt.
Well,
the security agencies, the people, we are not prepared. In Ghana, even you and I, we are not very conscious of our security environment. On daily basis, we give out so many private information about ourselves on social media. When someone wakes up in the morning, you know whether the person has bathed warm water or cold water, his children's names, their faces, their school, what time they drop them at school, what time they pick them up from school, and all that. This is what criminals use to create what we call in security circles profiling. And once they are able to profile you, they can break into your house, watch TV, and do things at their convenience because they know what time you're coming back. So we all have a role to play. Let us not just constrict it to the intelligence agencies or the police or the military. We should give them information like the IGP has stated, because that is very critical to, in security analysis, what we call situational crime prevention. That is what we should focus on, rather than wait things get out of control, then we start running helter-skelter looking for solutions.
Thank you very much, Adib Saani. He's a security analyst trying to make us understand exactly what has been happening regarding these supposed security threats that the IGP has been assuring Ghanaians about. But you at home, we've been asking you questions in our regular social media handles and the polls, so you can equally share your views on the subject. We have been asking you, police asks public to keep calm following the arrest of 3 persons with grenades at a dock hall. What do you make of the handling of the issue so far, and can you keep calm? Well, 28% say we have poorer security systems, 43% they don't feel safe, and 29% equally say that we should hasten with the investigation. And that clearly reflects the views, feelings, and opinions of the general public, of you, those of you who are watching us now, that we need to do a lot more to beef up the security system in the country to ensure that Ghanaians are safe. And that should be bringing us to the end of Insight.